Welcome back to the channel. I thought I'd do a little video on what I pack and how I pack up for a kayak trip. This will be maybe a two-part. One, I'll show you what I'm actually bringing. The other is I will show you how I load out my kayak itself. I'll have to go outside for that. So why don't we start with this and show you what I do and why I do it. So this is what I do virtually every time I go out. I put out all of my gear on the bed. My process is I bring out everything I believe I need, then I pack it, put it away until the night before, then I take it back out and I do a double check of all my gear. So typically I'll start a couple of days before my trip and finish it up from there. There's some parts of this have a lot to do with what kind of trip I'm doing, how long, what the weather is like. If it's colder, I might be bringing more stuff. If it's warmer, I might be bringing less. So why don't we step through it and see what I have. So first thing is, and disclaimer, full disclaimer, there's just a sweater in here for now, but this is my Ursack. If I'm going on a kayak trip, it is definitely an Ursack that I bring. Main reason being is that it's soft and flexible, that I can get it in and out of the hold easily. So, the barrels, I do have a bare barrel, but I would be fighting with that thing trying to get it into my kayak hold. So my food will go in here again, depending on the type of trip, how long. This might be more or less. As the trip goes on, the nice thing about Ursack is it gets smaller and smaller and smaller as you take stuff out, and so it becomes easier. Bare barrel is always the same size regardless, right? So I will then bring a first aid kit that's got a little bit of hygiene stuff in there, a little bit of medication, prescriptions, anything I need to take, as well as the basics of a first aid kit. It's a small kit, nothing fancy. If I get really hurt, I'm not sure I've got enough stuff in here to deal with it, but it is what it is. Better than none. Then I bring my this Platypus 4-liter water filter. I will bring this if I'm going with other people. If I'm not, if it's just by myself, then I will bring only this, my Be Free. I bring this all the time anyways. And I usually have it in the boat with me, in the cockpit. So I have a thing here, it's just a stuff sack. I call that my bag of cordage. Got all kinds of odds and ends and ties and loose cordage that I might need for tarps or lashings or anything I might need. The classic, no need to tell you what that's for. And then go into my cooking stuff. I bring a small light grill with me. I like having a grill. It makes it easy to work with. And I bring my cook set. One medium-sized canister. This is a 8-ounce. And I will bring my basic cook kit. I got a little bit of hygiene, some biodegradable soap and some hand sanitizer. I've got a MSR pocket rocket stove. little sponge scrubby for the pot. I've got a small pocket bellows that I can use, and a cup. There's a titanium cup, and if you look down at the bottom there, I won't take it out now, but that is actually my Firebox Nano stick stove. So I bring both fuel and stick stove, and I will cook with that. This guy here I bring if I think I'm going to be cooking over campfires. So all that goes away. Pick that up. Then I've got my electronics. I don't have it all out here. I do bring a fair amount of electronics. So I've got my GoPro camera and accessories I think I need with extra batteries. I have a battery pack that I use. It's 20,000. It's 20,000 mAh, I think. And what I do is I bring one cable for each device that I need to charge. And the reason for that is I can charge multiple of them at the same time overnight. So that's how I roll with this. This is good for 3-4 nights. If I think I'm going longer, I will often bring either my BioLite stove instead of this stuff, or I will bring I have a solar panel that can be used to recharge this bank. So I recharge the bank during the day when the sun, and at night while I sleep I charge my devices from the bank. So I always have that buffer there. I'm not charging my devices directly from the solar panel. Must have headlamp. I've got a floaty thing for my GoPro. I've got a mount. I'll show you that on my Kayak. For GoPro or other cameras, and my InReach Explorer Plus. Wouldn't leave home without it. Beyond that, here's another part of the kitchen. It's a little sink, super light. It's just useful for doing dishes or washing up. You know, anywhere you have to hold water. You could even use it to carry water up from the lake if you wanted to. And also a titanium KFS knife, fork, spoon set. I don't like sporks that much. I prefer to have this very, very light. Okay, after that is tools. I don't bring a lot for tools. I have a neck knife, small neck knife. I showed that in my tools video, so you guys want to check out that video. You'll see that. Just look in my videos. This goes on my PFD with me, as well as my InReach Explorer strapped to my PFD with me. If I ever dump and lose my boat, I have this. I can start fires. I can process some wood a little bit, and I can call for help if I need to. And then I bring my Agawa Canyon Boreal 21 saw. I don't often bring this nice leather case. Main reason is it's heavy. The case is almost as heavy as the saw. So I typically will just take the saw out and throw that into my pack. From there, my little luxury item is Trickology. It's a chair, camp chair. Pretty light, very comfortable, and it handles my weight. I'm not a little guy. Okay, after that, we've got over here, this is a bag that I use to carry my clothes in. Again, I just stuffed it with stuff. It's not what I really wear, but this is highly dependent on the weather. What I bring, I try to bring as little as possible. I don't bring 17 pairs of underwear and that kind of thing. I try to swim and do camp laundry whenever I can. So, and to go with some of the clothes, of course, must have a nice bug jacket, and I love this thing. It's micro head net black, so I can see nicely through it. After that is my shelter and sleep system. Um, right here is my tarp and pegs that go with it, and any cordage. I have a small pillow. Love this thing, Sea to Summit Arrows pillow. My underquilt for my hammock, and my hammock itself. This, of course, these three here are based on the basic premise that I'm hammocking, but I swap this stuff out with a tent and a mattress if I need to. And then I have a sleeping bag, which is, well, let's see what we got here. It's a chameleon, good for summer, and a little bit into shoulder, but not much really. It's a summer bag, so I don't usually carry it in this stuff sack, and I'll explain that in a minute. So one of the challenges of packing for kayaking is that depending on your kayak, you know, if you have a sit on top, which are a horror to portage, then you could pack, you know, like for backpacking really. But most kayakers that do any kind of tripping will have a kayak that's got holds, storage spaces, and usually the holes are fairly small to get your stuff in, so you can't just throw a full pack in there. When you get to portage, you have to open up and pull all the stuff out and usually put it into a backpack, and put it all back in. And after several trips, I think I've figured out a way that works pretty good for me, that minimizes my downtime getting ready for portages and then reloading afterwards. So I'll show you what I do for that. Alright, so I have a bunch of dry bags. Some of them are decent quality, some of them are not. I'm not too concerned about them really. For the most part, I'm pretty cautious about how I store things, and I'll take it from there. So this bag here has a shoulder strap, as you can see, and it also has a touch sensitive window to put a phone in. So I use this bag to put right in the cockpit with me, between my legs while I'm paddling, with my phone sitting right there. My phone just sits right inside there, and then I can use my phone for navigating, checking time, whatever, GPS, whatever. And it's right sitting there in front of me. It is inside, so it'll stay dry, and this is actually a good quality bag. Well, I mean, it's not high-end quality, but it's not, you know, dollar store either. And this one sits with me. If I dump, this guy will float, and often I tether stuff. So basically everything that is on deck with me will go into this bag, and I will often carry this over my shoulder while I'm portaging the actual kayak. So, you know, my map case, that will stay on the deck the whole time, just, you know, under the bungees. So I don't pack that up, but any kinds of, you know, mounts for on deck, camera itself that might be loose, my Be-Free, which is often with me, I'll throw that into the bag to carry it, and whatever else I happen to have with me. After that, I've got this guy, which is a larger bag from Sale. Decent quality, not great, but it's a 20 liter, and typically what I'll put in there will be my shelter system, my hammock, my underquilt, tarp, and sometimes my clothes will all stuff into there. My sleeping bag does not, and I'll explain that in a minute. But this guy here, as you'll see in the loadout video, this guy here goes behind my seat in the kayak, so it's not locked up, and I have this tethered as well. This guy here holds my first aid kit and any electronics that I have that I don't want on deck, so battery packs and extra batteries, extra equipment that I might be bringing. If I bring a solar panel, it goes in there. This goes into the hold. This guy here is a cheap dollar store bag, and what I do, and that is for my sleeping bag. And the reason I use this instead of this guy, first of all, this guy's not waterproof. But secondly, when I take my sleeping bag and I stuff it in here, and I do stuff it, I don't roll it or anything. It creates, it's kind of deceiving here, but it actually creates a long kind of tube that makes going into the hold of the kayak really into the way. Well, you'll see in the video how I stack it in there, but a long bag is actually a really good thing for me. So I stuff that in there. That way it's waterproof from the bag, but it's also waterproof from the hold. So it's double whammy for the sleeping bag. If there's anything here that I want dry, it's this guy. This guy has saved me no matter what, if it's dry. So, all right. I often will have another bag just like that. This is a cheap one, barely waterproof, but it's a bag. And this is where I will put my cook set and odd-shaped items. I call it my bits and bobs bag. It's all the stuff that doesn't really categorize into other areas. So I managed to get all of this into my kayak comfortably and easily, and it's taken me a while to dial this in. So, you know, I just showed you guys. That's what it looks like in all the little bits and pieces, and I'll show you what it looks like in the preloading mode. Be just a minute while I do this. Okay, so as you can see, most of this stuff is packed up. Now these things here, as I mentioned before, these three, this goes around my neck at all times. These two get attached to my PFD, part of my, we'll call it ditch kit. So those get handled special way. In here are all my things that I have on deck: camera, bug jacket, maybe some bug dope in there, maybe some, if there's going to be long hours of paddling, I might have a little bit of snacks in here. Typically I don't put food in there, but if it's going to be a long day, I will. This goes between my legs once I'm settled in, and it gets carried with my kayak. This is my sleep system and my shelter system, with the exception of the sleeping bag. This goes behind my seat in the kayak, and it is tethered to the kayak, so if I dump, it doesn't float off. The rest of these things all along here, as you'll notice, I mentioned that long is good. Most of these things are kind of, you know, have a length to them, maybe not this one so much, but you know, this is closed, so it's very flexible. And these are the things from here right over to here are things that I will put in the hold behind me in the kayak. This goes into a special sleeve in my backpack and stays in there. This also goes in the backpack and stays in there. Okay, so this is my canoe pack. It's North 49. It's, if I remember correctly, it's a 100-liter pack. Very simple, very straightforward. Just one big bag, one big container with a pouch here. So I'm going to show you. Fortunately, I don't have a tripod right now, so I won't show you how I load it, but I will show you once it's loaded. Alright, so here's the backpack. It's all packed up. Got the saw in the side. That probably took me about 1 minute to load that up from those bags. So this is the first thing I carry across a portage. I prefer to carry the bag first, the big bag first, and then the boat, just so I can learn about what the portage is like. Boat's a lot trickier usually. So this guy I carry with the boat over my shoulder, and this is on my PFD. So that's my portage kit. Pretty simple, straightforward, and it really works for me. I'm really liking it. So there we go. So that's typically the style of loadout that I do. Every trip is different. Every trip has different needs. So it varies. But that's the basis of it, really. Hopefully you guys find this info a little bit helpful. And anyways, please check out the next video, which will be how I jam all this stuff into my kayak. Load and unload. I'll do a full demo of that. And you know, as usual, please, if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, comment, like, anything you want to do is fine. It helps me. You know, I'm not really trying to grow the channel into something huge, but it does motivate me when I get a few likes and a few comments. And when my subscription numbers go up a bit by bit, it motivates me to continue doing these. So, thank you.